me, it's Johnny Boy. It's not so nice today, but we're back on the porcelain project with the artificial grass and the Iro board, and I just want to show you. Come and have a look. Well, here we are, and it's finished. We've just given it a bit of a clean, okay? We've gone over the pressure wash to make sure that when we hand this garden over, that it's nice and clean for the clients. So what we have here, the garden is in 3 parts. We have the porcelain, we have the artificial grass, and we have the Iro decking. And then of course, the eye level visuals, we have the Iro cladding, and we have the Western red cedar patterns. So the porcelain was from Mandarin Stone. We gave our client the options to use various suppliers, but we've used, she decided to go for the Italian porcelain from Mandarin Stone. It's full-bodied porcelain. We checked the ethnicity of it, so we know exactly where it came from. They're 800s by 800s. It's nice, it's a light coloured, and it gives a real contrast to the red brick. If we had gone a darker colour in porcelain, it would look too light, so it lifts the area, making it light and airy and spacious. What we have around the outside is a picture frame in a contrasting colour, okay, and that just frames the whole patio in itself, and there's a little bit more attention to detail with the cutting. All the paving in this garden, we put a sub base in, we put a geotextile underlay, we put a sub base in, and then we put a lean mix, okay? A lean mix is a 15-14 to 1 roughly, all in, and cement. And what we've done, we've compacted that, and that gives it its rigidity, okay? Because what you'll have sometimes, you'll have a thing called soil expansion, and sometimes it can push the type 1 up. So by using the lean mix, you've got that rigid system, and then it allows the bedding mortar to adhere to the lean mix much better. The paving then was laid with a screed mix, and the reason I use a screed mix, certainly in inclement weather conditions, because we worked through the winter with this project, it reduced the amount of water in the mortar, simply because the more water you add to any mortar, it becomes weaker. We used on the back of the slab, we used a priming slurry to ensure that the slab adheres to the screed mix. The grout that we've used easy grout from Aspects. The reason we use the easy grout from Aspects is because it's a slurry grout. Okay, a slurry grout, it looks awful when you're actually doing it, and it can be a little bit frightening, but when the grout falls down in between the joints, it starts to heat up straight away and starts to go off. You've got to make sure that when you're using the easy grout, you follow the instructions, okay? And you've got to just make the surface a little bit damp, not too much, because you don't want to weaken and change the consistency of your slurry. And it does work. This grout has gone off absolutely solid. Got to make sure, of course, that the joints are nice and dry. What I intend to do in this video, I'm going to put all the links of all the products that I've actually used during this project. But look, I just want to show you the artificial grass. If you just stay there for a moment, Lloyd, you can just pan around and you can see me from here. You can actually see the artificial grass here. It's coming in a 4-meter rolls, okay? And you can tell obviously where the joints should be in the middle, but you can't really see the joints, but you know it's there because it's a 4-meter roll. The grass comes from Cedar grass in Manchester. Their service without doubt second to none, and it's a European-made artificial grass. The whole lawn area was laid with a sub base, and then we put a stone dust finish on the top, and we have a concrete pin all the way around the perimeter against the picture frame to ensure that the grass gets glued down and it's not going to move. Well, I want to talk about the split level system. So we've got a wraparound garden, which is great. It just adds a lot more interest to a garden. and it goes behind the garage. So what we've done here, we've got the decked area in Iro Board, but we've got this wraparound step system using the Mandarin Stone, the Italian porcelain, and it's just the transition, making the transition onto the decked area a lot more easier. Here we are. This is the cedar screen fencing. The cedar arrived in 1.8 metre long pieces. Well, they were just over, so we had to just cut them down. They were about 1 metre 830 mil. They were all various sizes, so we had to cut them down in size. So what we have here is a screen panel, okay, and the joints are covered with this vertical batten. The fence that was there previously was a feather edge fence. That fence is still there now. But what we've done, in addition to that fence, to ensure the longevity, we've added extra posts all the way down, okay? So that screen fencing doesn't have to rely on the existing feather edge fence. Also, what we've done, behind here, we've put a membrane, and it's a dark charcoal colour, and what that's for is to stop the light shining through, not too bright, and gives an appearance of consistency, and it appears to be a lot more solid than just seeing the light shining between the battens. So on a previous video, somebody had commented, why did I start with a full panel against the house? Well, for me, that just made sense, and that's what the client wanted. So what we ended up with, if you look down here, you can actually see the piece that we have to make up on there, okay? Some people have said, well, why didn't you just have the little piece up there and a full panel in there, so when you come into the garden, you're actually seeing the full panels. Maybe that makes sense to some, but this is how we've done it, and that's what we've got. What we've got here is an absolutely fantastic area, an area that can be used. Maybe the case that a lot of people don't actually like decking because they feel that it's at high maintenance. But the difference is with this board is called Iro Board. It's from a company called BSW. They produce this board, and they've used a Japanese method, an ancient method for preserving wood. And what they do, they burn it. So when you burn the wood, you burn off the tannins and the resins, and that's what the microorganisms like to eat. But in this case, what they've done, they've burnt it, you take that element away, and then they've coated it with a cream called Rubio Monocoat. In this case, what we've used is the charcoal colour. So here we are. This is the cladding, okay? It's a contrast to the cedar, and we didn't want to overwhelm it with all that cedar all the way around. Some people may prefer that, but in this case, I think this works. So in this area, you've got the Iro decking, and you've got the Iro cladding. We've topped off along the top as well. But what we've actually used, though the cladding comes a little bit thinner, but we still use the decking thickness for this area. And it's just an absolute fantastic backdrop. Basically, when they burn it and they brush it, they brush off all the burnt cedar, which is the softer part of the wood, though this is a soft wood, but you can see, look at the grain, look how the grain is so tactile, and it looks absolutely beautiful. Some people say, is it slippy? But it's not. It's no slippy than any other decking system. In fact, it's better simply because you burn, as I said, all the tannins and the resins, and that's what makes decking slippy, is when all the microorganisms start getting into the wood. Will it need to be maintained? Of course it will need to be maintained. Even an Audi, a Mercedes or a BMW needs to be maintained. So what you can literally do with this is you get the Rubio Monocoat cream and you just sponge it on, okay? I wouldn't suggest to pressure wash it, because with any pressure washers, it does break the surface, and it's just better to actually give it a soft brush, clean it off, and then you can do an area like this, which we've got about 25-30 square meters. You could do it literally in an hour. What we've done on this side to make the difference up, because the perimeter of the garden, we've backfilled it with a gravel mulch, and this gravel mulch is a black basalt stone, which is a great contrast to the lawn and the porcelain paving. Just one more thing I've got to show you, because I think it just adds just detail. Come and have a look. So This is the existing gate that was in the garden, okay? And this is what they put on these new developments. They put these feather edge gates in. They don't look good at all. But what we've done in this case, look at that. Just come round and you can actually see the cedar gate. Look at it, it looks absolutely fantastic. The finish of it is absolutely beautiful. It just makes it all nice and sleek. If we just done this garden and never done nothing with the gate, it would have been just awful. So we had some cedar left. So what we've done, we fixed the cedar to the existing gate and it works, okay? So the cedar's going to have longevity. You can maintain the look with it by giving it a sand off, and then what you do, you can use Osmo oil, which the colour will retain its beautiful look and appearance, and it just looks absolutely stunning. We've even covered the frame, the 3x2 that's fixed to the house, to the garage in this case. We've covered that as well with some cedar. We put new furnishing on there and it just looks so much better. Remember that when you're fixing cedar that you use stainless steel brads. It's so important. When people think about using stainless steel, they think it's expensive, but it's not, because what will happen if you use the normal ones, what will happen is you'll have rust marks and you'll see the deterioration, the iron deposits leaching down the face, and that's the last thing that you want when you've paid for quite an expensive product.